The first step in the experiment is to take the cockroach out and put it in the ice waters so that it can be anesthetized for 5 to 6 minutes. The reason we do this is so that the cockroach doesn't feel any pain or doesn't respond whilst we're doing the surgery. Cockroaches are cold-blooded and can't control their own body temperature. This is why we can anesthetize them. Next, we will be gluing the electrode on. First, take out your cockroach using forceps and have your sandpaper ready. Make sure that the cockroach is fully anesthetized before beginning this part of the experiment. We will be sanding off part of the pronotum, which is the protective plate of the cockroach. The reason we do this is so that the electrode can stay completely glued on. Sand until the pronotum is covered off, and sand as if you were filing a nail or sanding a nail. You should see part of the pronotum coming off. Once that happens, take a paper towel and then take off some of the residue before gluing. Next, take your super glue, open it and place it where you have just sanded. Also, have your toothpick ready so that you can spread the glue before putting it on the cockroach. Make sure to put not too much glue so as to not over glue, and use your toothpick carefully. Next, take your electrode and place the prongs anterior to the cockroach so it is facing the antenna, like so. Press it down to make it sure it's completely secured, and then place it back in the ice water. In this part of the experiment, we will be adding the central ground wire. Take out your silly putty and splay the wings so that they're out of the way of the abdomen. You may want to take your silly putty and turn it into 2 mounds so that you can have both wings splayed out like so at the same time. Then take your forceps with your least dominant hand. For me, the least dominant hand is, and have a pin ready so that you can poke a hole in between the cercal tissue. There will be a better picture on your experiment blog so that you have an accurate representation of where to poke a hole between the cerci. Then take the middle ground wire, which will act as the central ground wire, and either use forceps or maybe even your hands to straighten out the central ground wire and push it through the hole in which you've made at the back of the cockroach. Once once it is fully inserted, take a dab of super glue, which you can place near you, and take a toothpick and wipe a dab from where you've placed your super glue, and just put just a little bit on where you've inserted your central ground wire so that when so that it can be secure, and then place it inside the ice water. In this step, we will be inserting the left wire into the left cerci. So take one of your mounds of silly putty and splay the left wings like we did with the central wire, and be sure to press them down. Now this Cersei tip should be already cut, but for convenience I've already cut the tip. When inserting the next Cersei, I'll show you how to cut the tip. Line up your wire with your cut Cersei so that you can gently push it into the hole that was made by cutting it. Then take a dab of super glue, like we did with the central wire, and dab both the Cersei and a, a bit of the wire just so that they're connected by super glue. Then take the super glue off and put your cockroach back in. In this step, we will be taking the right wire and inserting it into the right Cersei. The first part is to take a mound of silly putty, like we did earlier, and push the two right wings to the side so that it can make the surgery easier and you can insert the right wire with more ease. What I didn't show you in the last part is how to cut the tip of the Cersei off, which you should do before trying to insert both wires into both Cersei. Just cut the tip just enough so that you can comfortably insert your right wire into the right Cersei. This part may take some practice, and make sure just to leave a lot of the Cersei left. Now you can see the tip is gone, and I am inserting the right wire. Just remember to straighten out the right wire and line it up with the hole you've made in your cockroach's Cersei. And once it is in, take a dab of super glue to put on your toothpick, and then place that dab gently on the Cersei so that the glue can stick once it's once the cockroach is in the ice water for 1 to 2 minutes, as with all gluings. In this next step, we'll be hot gluing the electrode wires together. So take your cockroach out, and if you have not plugged in your hot glue gun, please do so now. The first part of this is to have the electrode wires be on top of the electrode and close enough together so that when you glue them on, they can all be together. One trick I like to use is to use the popsicle stick and put it in ice water and press down on the wires so that they're able to easily be moved in closer together. Next part is to, once you're done adjusting the wires, is to put the popsicle stick in water and then put flour on it so that once you glue on the wires to the electrode, you can quickly press the flour down and then after that part you can put the cockroach back into its cage so that it can rest for a few hours